We were goners. The Coalition had many avenues of attack to choose from. When the Free People wouldn't capitulate to their demands, their monuments would be destroyed under a red laser shot from space. When demands of resources or territory weren't met, infectious diseases found their ways into the drinking supply. All forms of their cruel tactics were well known and feared throughout the cosmos. The Coalition loved no other form of torment more, however, than their animals. We rushed everyone to the strip mall. During the raid on our home world, we had been taking it as a community hub for people to take refuge. The beast attacks were relentless, and it was made all the worse by the fact that the Coalition had disabled our auto turrets with precision strikes from a single raider ship in space. The auto turrets weren't ours originally. We were a peace-loving people, and our focus was on trade. They were gifted to us by one of our closest allies as a means to defend our homes after their own planet was besieged. We had barricaded all the entrances. People were missing parts of their tails. Their ears had been ripped to shreds. All of their most exposed body parts were torn first. They were crying. Children were begging for their parents. Sisters looked for brothers. It was a nightmare. No one was coming for us. No one dared to challenge the Coalition's might, save for the Empire. They were the only ones who had the strength to do so. Even knowing all of that, as these people's leader, it was my duty to try and save them. So I sent out a distress call in a desperate attempt to find anyone who might take pity on us and try to run away. After all, there was no fighting the rabid monsters. We didn't receive a reply. There was no answer. I knew there wouldn't be one. As I looked out of my window at the piles and piles of those horrible creatures, I thought about what we could have done differently. We gave what we could to the Coalition, if only out of fear of something like this happening. It wasn't enough. It was never enough. They wanted more. I cursed myself for not having the strength or good sense to try for a different route. Now my people were going to die for my shortcomings. We didn't expect what would happen next. Things were falling from the sky. They were large. They were metal. Sensors blared, warning us of the impact. I thought the raider ship above might have grown tired of waiting for our demise. There were hundreds of them. Drop pods. They were old mining drop pods, but from the camera feed, they looked different from what I remembered. They had extra parts in them. We're expecting them to crash. We're expecting them to hit the ball with the force of a megaton bomb. They did crash. Just not into the shopping centre. All of us, one after the other, they hit the ground, forming a line all around us. Many of them seemed to target the snapping maws of the monsters outside, landing at full force on piles of the aberrations that yearned to make their way to my people. Then we received a request for open comms. When we opened it, there was a creature on the hull of it, entirely dressed in a form-fitting black suit, with a helmet that looked like a solid piece of black glass. Whatever language he spoke could barely be deciphered by my translator, but what he gathered was, "Hello, blue things. When I'm here, bad thing happens. Came for the helpness, not be the concerning. Back soon." Then, something on those pods activated. They were outfitted with maglocks and strong ones at that. Streetlights got caught by their pull, as did rebar and vehicles. The pods kept pulling and pulling, until we were surrounded by a giant wall of metal. It was like a shell. Someone actually came for us. From my high vantage point, I could see what was going on. The pod doors opened, and inside, I could see the light of the largest plasma cutters I had ever seen in my life. The huge creatures had put together several of them to create giant axes of plasma energy. They were immediately assaulted by the talons of those terrible beasts, but those people, they towered over them. They didn't seem fazed at all as they cleaved through wave after wave of the tireless horde. Those bipedals were clearing the area all around the shopping centre. With each swing of their mighty axes, the fouls were felled by the tens. We were mesmerized. Where before there were gnashing creatures, there were now giants standing on mountains of monster corpses. We were saved. And I cried. My prayer had been answered. My people had been saved. I came downstairs and had some of my men clear the barricade so that I might meet our saviors. As we opened the door, what I saw horrified me. The image is still burned into my brain. We were herbivores, but these giants, they were cooking those things. I couldn't hold it back. I yelled out, "What are you doing?" And they simply replied, "Cooking chicken."